Good evening, everyone. The Department of Strategy and Engagement is delighted to welcome you to Parent University this evening. My name is Maria Etherton. I'm the Family Engagement Coordinator for Richardson ISD and your host for Parent University. Our special edition is called Planning for LOTE, Credits and Graduation. This important information will be presented by Rowena Ali Buyog, Director of Languages Other Than English, also known as LOTE, and Language Supports. Joining us also is Jeremy Williamson from our Teaching and Learning Department. If you have friends, family, or neighbors that could not join us this evening, I want to let you know this session, like all Parent University sessions, will be recorded and available for future viewing in the RISD Parent University video library that can be accessed on the risd.org website. Without further ado, here is Rowena Ali Buyog.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. So my name is Rowena Ali Buyog. I am the Director of World Languages, or LOTE, as you can see on the screen, which stands for Languages Other Than English. Now, before I move on, I would also like to give an opportunity to Mr. Williamson to introduce himself because he will also be sharing a lot of information to you all this evening.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy Williamson. I am the Director of Student Advancement in the Teaching Learning Department, and I specialize in everything college related, dual credit, on-ramps, and in particular AP, which we will be discussing tonight for world languages. Thank you,
All
Rowena.
right. Yes, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not sure if we have gentlemen in our attendees tonight, Miss Atherton, but our goal tonight is to show you the different paths available to your children or to your students to earn their LOTE credits. And just like what Jeremy said, also opportunities for them to advance their language learning through AP. Or I know, Jeremy, did you say IB or dual credit actually? Because we did receive some questions from the spreadsheet or from the registration form about your question about dual credit as well. So at the end of our time together, our intended outcome is for you to walk away with three things. First, that you will know exactly how to find the right language path for your students' unique goals, because we know that our students have different paths, have different graduation goals. Second, we'll show you how your child can earn high school credits for the languages they already speak at home. So if your child speaks Spanish or French or Japanese or Mandarin or Arabic or Pashto, one of the things that we would cover today is how can we maximize those language proficiencies for our students to already earn their language credit. And finally, we would like to share with you this opportunity for our students to earn the Texas Seal of Biliteracy. This is a very prestigious graduation award that we can actually, or that can actually save you and your children possibly thousands in future college tuition. All right, now before we move on, I would like to make sure that we recognize and we acknowledge and we thank you for all the questions that you shared, you submitted to us when you signed up for this session. And I would like to acknowledge to you that over 70% of those questions that you sent us is around CBE or credit by exam. So we really want to make sure that we address those questions tonight. We also would like to answer our top two question, which is around the Texas Seal of Biliteracy. And the third is how to accelerate credits starting in middle school. So our time today is tailored around these three topics, and also some of those topics probably at the end of our time together if we have that extra time to answer more questions. All right. Before we dive into those three topics, I would like to take this opportunity to have a quick review of the state graduation requirements around LOTE or world languages. So in the state of Texas, every student needs 2 credits in the same language. So for example, if your child has enrolled in Spanish 1, we would like your child to also have Spanish 2 to continue that pathway. But we know that every student's journey is different. So what you have on the screen is a checklist. It's a word languages checklist that you could use as a roadmap. So you see 3 paths. The first one is your standard path for our students to earn those 2 LOTE credits. We also have path number 2, which is for our students who may need to have course substitution. Path number 3 is for our students who might have some specialized needs and who might need other courses as well. So whenever Ms. Etherton would share or send a link or a copy of this presentation to you all, you will have access to this checklist. So I recommend that you would print, and you could use this to check off exactly which requirements your child has already met and what they still need for graduation. Okay, let's also look at the different pathways, because one or two or several questions that we received is around what word languages courses or course options do we have in the district? And we also have questions about, do we offer Mandarin or Vietnamese or Urdu? What you are seeing on the screen is another checklist for us to refer to so we can answer these questions. So the first for junior high as well as middle school, or junior high/middle school, we are currently offering Spanish and Spanish for Spanish speakers course. Now in high school, on top of those 2 courses, we are also offering Japanese and French. So again, this is a link that you could click on whenever you receive this slide from Ms. Atherton. You could print this up so you can use it as a reference as to how you can plan the language or the languages that your child or your student might want to enroll in. As to the question whether we are offering Vietnamese or is Urdu an option, or what possible resources do we have for Mandarin? While these courses are not scheduled classes in Richardson ISD at this time, these languages are actually available via credit by exam, which we will touch in a few minutes. These are also available in online correspondence courses, which we will also share some information around this topic in a few minutes as well. So just know that as we proceed with our session tonight, we are going to bring up all those questions that you have sent us before this presentation, so we could answer them throughout. And Mr. Williamson and Ms. Atherton, please feel free to jump in if there's anything that you might want to add or you might want to share on top of what I've already shared. All right. Okay, here we go. Here's one of the topic that majority of our attendees have asked. It's about how do your students or how do your child accelerate earning those 2 LOTE credits? As you can see, 3 example questions that I pulled from whatever you've submitted to us. You'll see some of the questions on the screen. So like parents asking how to start the process as early as middle school, which is the most ideal time, even before middle school, to plan the language pathway for your students. Or here's another question: if there's a limit to how many tests a student can take, and we're going to answer all of these right now as we look at 3 main pathways in word languages. So you as a parent or as a family can have a conversation with your children as early as possible to plan the pathways for them. Okay, what you are seeing is a table. So I would like to recommend for you to think of this slide as your menu. To address the 70% of us asking about acceleration, I want you to look at the first 2 rows, our acceleration pathways. The first row is our fluency group. If your child already speaks, reads, listens, and writes another language, credit by exam is your fastest way. This is your way to maximize that language that your student or your child already has or is bringing with them as they come to school. The second row is our flexibility group. So if your child wants to learn a language that we don't teach in our ISD, so for example, if your child wants to learn German, I know Mr. Williamson was listening to a German music this afternoon, or maybe your child would like to learn Arabic, which are courses that we don't currently offer in Richardson ISD. Or just like some of the questions that I've received, if your child wants to free a spot in their academic schedule so they can add more elective courses like CTE or fine arts in their pathway, then the online correspondence is an answer for us. Now, the third row is that group, which I call as the advanced group or the college credit group, because this is the path for our students who would like to keep going with their language or who would like to advance and have a GPA boost. Or here's the most important information about this part is this is the group where we already have our students earning college credit while they are still in high school, thinking that we could save a lot again of tuition savings, right? Okay, Mr. Williamson, you're doing a thumbs up, which is, I think that is very accurate. All right, so then what we will do is we will address 3 of these pathways, and we will close up with the Texas Seal of Biliteracy. This is very important too because the Seal of Biliteracy is that award and recognition for our students to show that they are already fully bilingual. And so we will explore why that's important, how can your student receive that award, and how can they use it outside of high school or once they graduate from high school. Okay, so let's move on to online correspondences or online courses. What you are seeing again, as I have been doing, and you may have noticed, is that I am addressing your questions throughout the presentations. So our first deep dive is online correspondence. As I mentioned, this is our flexibility pathway. It's that best option if your child wants to study a language that we don't offer in the district, or if they need to free up a period in their academic schedule for other electives. So I want to highlight these 3 questions from you. The first question is around choices, how to keep learning other languages. The second question is around convenience, whether online learning is an option. And the third question is around extra ways, if there are additional ways to earn credit. This pathway, which is the online correspondence, is the answer to all of these 3 questions. And it's our most flexible option for students who want to go beyond the classroom. So let's look at the specific providers that we have partnered with in Richardson ISD. And of course, we're also going to look at your to-do list. How do we allow, or how do we ensure that our students get to have the opportunity to take advantage of these online correspondences? All right, our online providers. I am toggling my screen. So, okay, here we go. Here are 3 accredited school partners of RISD. And again, there are more, but these are the 3 accredited school partners that offer world languages courses. Texas Tech, K-12, as well as Keystone are great for core languages. So you are seeing on your screen the different languages that they offer. However, if your child is interested in something more unique, like Arabic maybe, or Japanese, then Mizu Academy offers over 20 different languages, which might be the better option for your child. Okay, so if we decide that this is the pathway for our students, how do we get started? What we are sharing on the screen with you all would be steps that are easy for you to follow so you can enroll your student or your child in these courses. So the first thing is You would be choosing the school that offers the language that you want or the language that your child wants. Then you will register and pay. So you as a parent or a family will handle the enrollment as well as the fees directly into the school's website. Then, especially if you are a parent of a student athlete or if your child has some athletic goals, we would like you to verify that these schools or any other online courses that you're enrolling, that they are NCAA approved. So NCAA stands for the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and our students who have athletic goals would like to be enrolled in courses that are approved by this entity. So before you pay any specific course that you are enrolling your child into, just make sure that you are double checking that. Okay. And the last part, which is also very, very important, is the report phase. So once your child has completed the course, you're going to bring that transcript of records to the counselors in the campus so that the credit will be awarded to your students. Then once we have a documentation that says they've received or they've earned 2 credits of 2 languages, that will be recorded into their transcript, and they will be able to complete those 2 credits of graduation requirements for LOTE. I forgot to mention that these entities are outside of the district. Therefore, it comes with cost. So I'm sharing it with you so you can also plan accordingly. For each course, it's approximately between $200 to $360 per semester. So that's a consideration for planning purposes for parents as well as for families. Okay. So yes, ma'am, Ms. Atherton.
Excuse me, I just want to clarify. Can you go back to that previous screen? A student that chooses this option would need to do a total of 4 semesters. Is that right? Because each semester is a course and they need a total of 4 semesters in the
That is
language,
that
in the
is
same
correct.
language.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So in relation to online correspondence courses, this is a question, the question that you're seeing on the screen is also one that I've received so very often, especially during this spring semester. So the question is, does the district offer LOTE or world languages courses over the summer to accelerate and earn credit? Currently, RISD does not offer traditional face-to-face or online world languages summer courses for original credit or acceleration. To follow up on that, here's another question that I've received or that you've sent to us, which is how much time would it take to learn another language? So we know that language learning is social. So interaction is necessary for it to stick, for our students to learn and for us to be proficient. It takes about 3 to 4 years of consistent practice, and that is something that we cannot shortcut in an 8-week summer course. So that is the reason why Richardson ISD is not offering world languages as a course to accelerate or to earn original credit during summer school. We really want our students to become fully bilingual, just not pass a test. And so we want that interaction. We value the time that they spend and interact with a teacher as well as with their peers in the classroom. But then again, if your child is someone who wants to move faster, then online correspondence remain your best summer option. All right, so we've covered a lot of information about online correspondences, but that concludes that first pathway. But before we move on, I want to take around 30-second to 1-minute breather before we shift gears. I know that Ms. Atherton had a question, but right on your screen, you are seeing that speech bubble icon. So that is a cue for you all to head over to your chat box, or if you see that Q&A feature on your screen, I would like to give this time for you to type your questions if there are any other questions that we have not answered or we have not covered at this time. I have my two colleagues here, Ms. Atherton and Mr. Williamson. They will be looking into the chat box. And I'm going to play a little music to give you all time to do that. Okay, here we go. Can you all hear the music, Ms. Atherton and Ms. Williamson? All right, our time is up. I am seeing some questions coming in, and if some of you are still typing your questions, please keep typing and please let those questions keep coming. What we will do is we will answer the top 3 questions, whatever the first 3 perhaps in our chat box, and then whatever questions after that, what we will do is we will collect all those questions and we will create an FAQ document, which we will send via email as well, as a follow-up to make sure that you all get the answers to the questions, just in case we don't get to answer them live tonight. Are there any questions that we would like to answer today, Mr. Williamson and Ms. Atherton?
Yes, I saw the first question, stating that it requires 4 semesters and whether it works for juniors. My suggestion on that, don't wait or don't let your student wait to start their language courses until their junior year. It can meet the requirements for 2 years, but just in case a semester may not go well or a particular year doesn't go well, it's best to go ahead and start it early, freshman or sophomore year. That way they have room to potentially maybe change their mind to a different language if they want to switch, or if a year doesn't go well, they have time to recover. So can they start junior year? Yes, but it's not usually recommended for those purposes.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Williamson, is it correct that it's 2 years of a language other than English, which is LOTE, in the same language? Is that correct?
So if a student starts their junior year, they try, let's say, Spanish, but they decide their senior year they want to switch over to Japanese, then they would have to take, well, they wouldn't be able to switch at that point. They'd have to stay with Spanish.
Yes, that is correct. Because part of the requirement in the state of Texas is that those 2 requirements are in the same language, unless there is a reason why we have to do a course substitution, but that decision will have to happen with having that meeting with your principal and having the justification as to why we have to have a course substitution.
Also, students can start the 2-year requirement as early as junior high or middle school. Is that correct?
That is correct. So that's why we are suggesting and we are recommending, as Mr. Williamson said, that the earlier that we can start with our world languages pathway, the better. So it starts at junior high. We do offer world languages courses as early as 7th and 8th grade.
And extra benefit, if a student starts earlier, that leaves more room later on to take the advanced courses for college credit that do require the previous year's courses as a prerequisite. There was also a question on which will be more efficient, learning at school or taking online courses.
I can start with that. I know we do have, again, it's from different lenses. If truly the goal is for our students to develop the bilingualism and biliteracy, I do believe that being in the classroom and having that interaction, consistent practice with peers and with other students and the teacher as well, that will provide that opportunity for language learning to be more effective. I do know that there is a benefit of taking a class via an online course as well. I would do that if my student already has a fluency in that specific language or who may not need a lot of interaction. Ms. Etherton, Mr. Williamson, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that?
I think you handled it very well.
Perfect. Let's answer one more question and then we will collect the remaining of the questions for us to answer through a follow-up email. So the question is, what are the main advantages for these credits? So the 2 credits of LOTE is a requirement for our students in the state of Texas to graduate. They have to. It's something that they cannot graduate without. Did I say that correctly? So, yes. Now, the advantage is that if we finish those 2 LOTE credits, then our students would have the option to advance into like a level 3, level 4, and then later on to an AP pathway. But those 2 credits are something that our students must have for them to graduate.
I agree. And an extra benefit to it, apart from just being a graduation requirement, taking these courses help our students become better, well-rounded world citizens and learn about other cultures. So it just helps in all different aspects.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Okay, we still do have questions from Ms. Santa Maria, Ms. Donna, Sabine, Kenya, Glenn. What we will do is we'll take your questions, just like what I've said, and then we'll answer them via follow-up email. But we do appreciate these questions that you have shared with us. It helps us also plan for for an incoming session with our parents, because these questions are telling us the wonderings and the things that our parents would like to know so that they can help their kids when they are making these decisions as they enroll in their courses. All right. If you're all ready, I'm ready to move on. Y'all ready? Okay. We are now heading to the credit by exam. Oops, the word exam has been cut off, but here's the credit exam information. Now, before we move on, I want to make sure again that I am highlighting these 4 questions because it is very possible that these 4 questions are also your questions. So I want to pause and look at these 4 questions because the questions are asking about the timing, when to sign up for the credit by exam, the transcript, what would it look like on your transcript or on your GPA, and the purpose, why do this, why do CBE instead of a class. So these are the exact topics that we're going to cover in the next section. So credit by exam is a pathway that honors the language that your child or your children already bring with them. So you've heard me say, if your student already speaks Spanish or Arabic or Farsi or Mandarin, credit by exam is that pathway that we can look into. So I want you to think about your child's language background right now. Is your child a heritage speaker? Or is your child a native speaker of that language other than English? Or have they had an immersion or prior experience in another language? Like, for example, have you lived in Brazil and for 2 years and you have had exposure into that language? If so, if that is your child, then credit by exam is an option that you should absolutely explore, because we want to capitalize on those language skills that our students already have with them. So credit by exam means instead of spending 2 school years in the classroom, earning those 2 LOTE credits that are required for them to graduate, your child can take one proficiency exam, or what I'm referring as the credit by exam. If they demonstrate their skills in listening, in speaking, in reading, and in writing, they can actually earn up to 5 full credits in a single day. So we test them, and based on their answers, they are going to receive that credit that's equivalent to whatever score or proficiency they've scored in. So to answer the question, whether there is a limit to the number of credits that they can test out or your student can test out in one sitting, the answer is your child can earn up to 5 LOTE credits, which is the highest number of credits that can be earned. Just like what I've said as well, the number of credits that your student will earn will be based on their scores in the exam. You will not see a grade. You will not see a grade that says 50 or 40 or 30. So the score will show to an equivalent whether your student has performed in proficiency LOTE level 1 or LOTE level 2 or LOTE level 3 or 4. Now for Spanish, we use a specialized district-created assessment tailored to our students. And for most other languages, like what you're seeing on the screen, French, Japanese, Chinese, German, Urdu, Farsi, and other languages, we use a national platform called Avant. So what I want you to do right now is think about how your student's language can already help them earn those 2 LOTE graduation credits for them to accelerate earning their LOTE credits. Okay, now we're into if our student qualifies for a CBE, how can they test? I think this is one of the most important questions we have in mind as well. So if your child qualifies to participate in a CBE to earn their credits in LOTE or world languages, the first thing that they need to do, or you could do, is to speak with your campus counselor. Again, we want to make sure that this CBE fits into your child's graduation plan. We cannot just say, hey, go and take a CBE just because we want our child to take a CBE. We want to make sure that it fits their graduation plan. The second part is their registration. So the counselor or our proctor on campuses will coordinate with me or with the LOTE department to get our students into our fall or spring semester testing roster. So we do test twice in a year, once in fall and once in spring. Different campuses have different specific dates for testing, and this is the reason why it's very important for you or for your child, especially if they're high school, to consult and talk with their campus counselor. The third one is assessment. Tests are taken on campus, and students must bring their charged RISD devices. And finally, let me click that. This is our number one parent question, is about what does it look like on the student GPA, and what does it look like when it comes to calculating their average score. So passing scores are entered into this focus transcript as pass or fail. So your child, or whenever you go to focus and look at your child's grade, you will see a P or an F. There would be no numerical grade. So you will not see a 50 or a 40 or a 30 or an 80 or a 90. So what this means is it will have a 0 impact on their GPA. So whenever they start calculating the GPA grade of our students, whatever scores they had on their CBE will not be included into that calculation. I want to point out our important policy note at the bottom, which is our as per our board policy, students have a maximum of 2 attempts per subject to pass. And I know this is one of your questions too. How many times can you take the test? So you can only take it twice. These attempts must be made in separate testing windows. So for example, if your child took the test in fall, your child cannot take it again, the same testing window, fall. They have to test the next testing window, which is the spring semester, or they can do it again the next school year. This is exactly why you've heard several of us saying or recommending that we start early, and that starting early also applies to CBE, because we want to make sure that we are giving your child or your student the cushion of a second try just in case they need it. Okay, so we are now again at that time for us to pause, because that's all about credit by exam conversation or info. And I want to give again another minute for us to get into our chat box. If there are questions that we did not answer throughout that presentation or information, find that chat box or that Q&A, whatever that looks like on your screen, and I want you to type those questions. Just like what I did a minute ago, I'm going to play that music while you all type your questions. All right, Ms. Atherton and Mr. Williamson, do we have questions that possibly we can address before we move on to the next section?
Yes. Glenn Angel asked a wonderful question. Does credit by exam require passing reading, writing, speaking, and listening comprehension, or can students receive partial credit for speaking and listening comprehension without reading and writing?
That is indeed a very good question. So the answer is our students need to show proficiency in those 4 language domains. So they have to be proficient in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, because the TEKS in Texas require our students to show mastery in those 4 language domains. So whenever they take the test, there is no option for us to provide a partial credit. So for them to receive the full credit for whatever test they're sitting in, they have to demonstrate proficiency in those 4 areas.
Perfect. And there was another question, a great follow-up to this one. What grade do students take it?
So the credit by exam, from our experience, can actually be taken by any student from 7th grade or secondary level. So that means anybody who's entering 7th grade all the way to 12th grade. In the school district, majority of our students who are taking credit by exam are our high school students, because they're trying to fulfill that 2 LOTE credit requirements. We do have several from our junior highs, but we do have most of our students in the high school grades. Do we want to answer one more question before we move on, ladies and gentlemen?
There was another question I would need a little more clarification on. Besides taking a class, do they need to take an online class also?
Oh,
And
okay.
for this, students would either need to take the physical in-person class with their teacher with RISD, or they can do an online course if it's for a language that we don't provide, or if they just want to open up room in their schedule for other courses. So it's just one or the other.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. All right, so up next, as you could see, On our screen, you're seeing an arrow. So meaning we're moving on to advanced placement. This is where now our third pathway, which is for our students or for our kids who really want to advance that language learning. And this is an opportunity for our students to earn college credit while still in high school. And we are so glad that Mr. Williamson is with us, like especially in this section, because he will be able to help us with more information that will help you as a parent or will help us in making those conversations and decisions with our students. So this would answer one of the biggest questions that we also received, and that is how to keep advancing and how to keep learning in language. So we will share with you different information as to how do our students get into the advanced placement pathway. Here we go. So this is where our students now move beyond the basics. So this is now beyond those two required LOTE credit for them to earn college credit and of course to boost their GPA. All right. Mr. Williamson, I will speak through the slides, but please feel free to stop me whenever you feel like we need to share more information. Okay, currently in RISD, we offer AP courses in Spanish, in French, and Japanese. But I want to be clear that these aren't just high school courses. They are AP courses, which means these are college level courses taught right here in RISD. And these are opportunities that we want your children to take advantage of. So I want to draw your attention to the right box or to the box that says, did you know? Did you know? And this is very interesting because this is one of the most important part of the slide right now. Did you know that most AP subjects like history or math typically earn a student 3 college credits? However, with AP World Languages courses, your student can actually earn up to 12 college credits. That's huge. So for a student who wants to keep advancing beyond 2 credit minimum, this is the ultimate finish line. So your student can finish a full year or maybe more of college language requirements before they even graduate from high school. And here's another very important piece for us, knowing that our students can actually earn up to 12 credits. That's a potential savings for our family, for you, for over $3,000 in future tuition cost. Mr. Williamson, is there anything that you'd like to add about that?
Yes, thank you so much. So I receive questions about this quite often. How can I tell which colleges will accept credit for AP exams and how many credits will they get? What courses do they count for? So if you check the chat box, you'll see that I just linked a website with College Board. They are the organization who sponsors and does everything with AP. By checking the AP credit policy, you're able to search by AP course, or the best option, pick whichever college your student is planning on going to or wants to attend in the future. That will provide a full list of which AP exams are accepted, the score requirements, and how many credits that they can receive. So taking into account, let's say Spanish language, that one can provide students with an opportunity to earn credit for both beginning Spanish and intermediate Spanish, depending on what score the student makes. So let's say a student scores a 3 on that test, they may get a full year of Spanish for beginning Spanish 1, beginning Spanish 2. But if they make a 5, they may get Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and then intermediate Spanish 2 and intermediate Spanish 1 as well. So that's their opportunity to get a lot more credit. And by checking that website, you can see exactly what score they need to make and whether it will be accepted. Circling back to something we talked about earlier, when we talked about starting them on this pathway as soon as possible so they can have access to the advanced courses, The minimum requirement for students as a prerequisite is generally a level 3 course. So let's say Spanish 3 or Japanese 3. Those have to be taken before they're able to take AP. So students who decide to start taking their language courses, say junior year or sophomore year, they may potentially miss out on the opportunity of taking an AP class because it just won't fit into their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's where the extra benefit of the credit by exams, if your student's very advanced in the language already, they can test out up to potentially the third level of the language and get to go straight into an AP course. So always check to see if the credit by exams can be a good option, because that could be a great springboard into an AP course.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson, and thank you so much for sharing that resource to our parents as well. And again, what we will do is we will link that resource that Mr. Williamson has shared with us into this slide, and so that whenever Ms. Atherton will share it or will send this out, you will also have access to it. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Williamson, for that. Now, here's a question that we've also received from you all, and I also asked Mr. Williamson this afternoon to share with us the answer. So the question was, or is, can my child jump directly into an AP course, or is there a mandatory sequence? And I know he answered that. Now, if our student has a very, very high fluency and you believe that your child can function or can be successful in an AP course, then we would like your child to take a placement test. So if the placement test result shows that our student can really be successful in the rigorous environment of an AP class, then yes, we will use that placement test data to enroll your student or your child in an AP classroom. Now, this is not a gatekeeper. We're not saying that your child should not. The placement test is more of a safety check to ensure that your child is in the right seat. So we just don't want to throw your child either in a class where he or she will feel frustrated. We want them to feel successful wherever we will enroll them. Mr. Williamson, do you have anything to add or information to
You
share about that?
stated that perfectly.
Perfectly.
It is an excellent option, taking the placement test. And again, as Rowena said, it's just to make sure the student's placed in the course that's going to be the best fit for them, because we don't want to set them up for frustration or failure in the future. Because these courses are amazing, but they are college level courses that move at a fast pace. So if their language isn't strong enough just yet, we don't want them to get left behind.
That is so true, because they have to read this long literary text, and they have to analyze, and they have to write essays, and they have to speak about what they've read. So it's really important for us that we provide that setting for them to be successful. All right, here's an opportunity too around, as we are talking about advanced placement. I would like to share this opportunity to our students who may speak Spanish. So is your child or student a heritage or native Spanish speaker? Step one. So if your child is in 6th grade, we do offer what we call as a Spanish screener. So sometime in the fall, the 6th grade counselor will communicate with you about your child's eligibility to participate in this test. So this journey really starts early, and that's why, again, this is the importance of us planning early as much as possible. Then when they take the test, and based on their scores, we place them in an advanced Spanish levels in middle school or junior high. So that means we might place them in Spanish for Spanish speakers level 2 or 3, so that when they go to high school, that's our step 3, then they will have that opportunity to enroll or to be part of the AP instruction, which is a very, very big advantage to them if they'll be able to reach that. By identifying the fluency of our Spanish-speaking students as early as 6th grade, we can ensure that they are placed in Spanish classes in junior high and middle school, and then they can participate in the AP classes. And again, I want you to think, if you are a Spanish speaker or if your child speaks Spanish at home, this is an opportunity that we would like them to take advantage of. So you ask, here's a question that you all ask. My child is in dual language immersion. So we're thinking about sixth grade Spanish screener. So this is a question that you all sent me. So do they still need to take that sixth grade screener to get into an advanced Spanish? So if your student is in dual language immersion Spanish program currently and they move on to sixth grade, so then yes, they're going to take that fall Spanish placement data. And I would like to tell you why. Right now, the state of Texas has a very stringent criteria to moving or providing credits for our students who are currently enrolled in a dual language or immersion program. So the Spanish Screener is a tool, it's our in-house tool for our students so that we could bypass the very stringent criteria that our students need to demonstrate for them to receive that credit. So to reiterate, the answer is yes, they will take the sixth grade Spanish screener. Oh, I did not click that slide. So you could see a visual. Here we go. All right. So on this slide, what you are seeing is like a pro tip, especially for our students or families who are thinking that their students can or would be interested or strong enough to take the AP exam. The question is, do they really need, or does your child actually need to be in the AP class to take the test? So pro tip, students can take the AP exams even without being enrolled in an AP class. And I would ask Mr. Williamson for a few minutes to share with us or to give us more information about that.
Thank you so much for that. So for any of our students who are heritage or native speakers who have a strong competency in the language, if they've already passed out with a credit by exam for a course and they don't have room in their schedule for language course, so they would like to keep their schedule open for other opportunities, they still do have the opportunity of earning college credit through an AP exam by simply taking the test. In order for a student to do so, they would need to work with the AP coordinator on their individual campus, which Rowena has provided all those on screen for you all, and just let the coordinator know that they would like to go ahead and take the test, and they can get signed up and they'll test with everyone who's in the class in May. In the future, for your students that are coming up next year, the deadline for signing up is mid-November, which we do have some more information on that as well. But they just have to register for it with the AP coordinator. They will pay the same price as regular students for the AP exam, and they get the same opportunity of getting college credit. Now, with this, there is a slight caveat to this, though. Students who take the AP exam for the purpose of getting the college credit, the AP exam does not provide high school credit. The credit by exam, that provides the high school credit, but AP exams do not. So will not affect their GPA, but it is an opportunity of them getting college credit at a much discounted price as opposed to taking it at the college itself.
Perfect. So thank you, Mr. Williamson. Miss Atherton, I'm looking at my time. It says it's 7:25. So for the next 5 minutes, because we've already covered 3 major areas or questions that you all were wondering about, I would like to spend a few minutes around the Seal of Biliteracy. This is an award that your students will receive, which is a recognition and honor for being fully bilingual. So officially in the state of Texas, it is called Performance Acknowledgement in Biliteracy and Bilingualism. So I am going to move on to the next few slides because I would like to make sure that you know how your students can receive this. I'm going to move my computer. All right, so these are the benefits. And if you're looking at, again, tuition savings, the career boost, because being bilingual is a high demand in many different careers out there. So if our students would have this Texas Seal of Biliteracy, and new this year, the state of Texas now would require or is requiring districts to have a stamp of that Seal of Biliteracy on our students' diploma. So meaning when our students go to college admissions or when they go and apply, they have that seal on their diploma that says they are fully bilingual. So I would like to highlight um, how your student or your child can receive this seal. So there are two parts. So think of this as a math equation. So the first part is the English success. So your students should complete English 1 to English 4 with an average of 80 or above in their GPA. So that's the first part of the equation. They also have to demonstrate proficiency in a language other than English. So this is the world languages course that they are taking. So for them to demonstrate that, there are three options. Option A, they can earn or they can earn 3 years or 3+ credits of the same language with an 80+ average. Option B, that is, they take the AP exam and score 3+, or option C, for them to pass a level 4 on a proficiency exam. So I know some of the questions were asking about like what grade. So the 80+ average applies to the seal of biliteracy only. This does not apply to the credit of exam. So I just wanted to point that out because I know you were wondering about the grade of 80. All right. Now, Seal of Biliteracy, we love celebrating our students. What you are seeing here is a way of RISD celebrating and honoring our students who demonstrate this proficiency. We are awarding or providing them or acknowledging them with a graduation cord and a certificate from RISD. They will be receiving this year on April 18th, and if your child is one of them who will be receiving this honor or award, you will be receiving an invite or a letter on email from me so they can come and pick this up and we can celebrate them. Also, what you're seeing on the screen is a picture of our students from Berkner High School last year. So these are our students who showed and demonstrated proficiency in 2 languages, English and LOTE or World Languages courses. So we are hoping that as you start planning and having conversations with your students about their world languages pathway, Seal of Biliteracy is that almost like a gold standard medal at the end. That is a proof that they really have reached that full bilingualism. All right, I'm going to go through this really fast. We covered all of those, but these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I count it correctly? Or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 simple tips for you all to make sure that we're keeping track the progress of our students, making sure that we're checking focus to ensure that their grades in English as well as in LOTE are 80 and above. And if you are, again, you're seeing the words or phrase as early. So the key for our students to keep advancing is for us to start planning early. All right. Whenever you get these slides later on from Miss Atherton, this slide would have your dates, important dates that I want you to take note of. The first chunk, that is today. Very, very important. Today, if your child is a high school student, they may have received an email for course verification. If your child is in the lower grade levels, your child may be coming home tonight. They should have a paper copy of that course verification document. So this is your last chance to confirm. If you're good with those courses that your child has picked, then you just have to confirm, sign, and send it back to school. But this is also your opportunity to change if there are any changes that you would like to make on those course selections that they've made from January to February. So that's very important. You have your date from for course selections. You have October to January, your AP exams. Of course, beyond March is for us to be monitoring our progress. All right. The most important contact person for your child and for you is your child's school counselor. As a director, Mr. Williamson and I, like we could provide suggestions, recommendations, but your child's counselor would have your child's graduation plan, and they are the ones who are having these conversations with you throughout your child's education. So I encourage that you continue that conversation with a counselor throughout. Also on the screen, you will have this as well whenever you get the link to this slide, our list of our world languages department chairs in all secondary campuses. These are our campus language experts. So if your child or if you yourselves are curious about what does it look like or what does it feel like to be in these classes, these are the people that you may reach out to so they could provide you more information around that topic. And finally, I know we talked about tests and credits and state requirements, but I would like to end our day or our evening today by an invitation. I would like to invite you to come and celebrate with me the different languages in the district. And so Multilingual Excellence Expo happening in April 18. We are offering language immersions. So we will have opportunities for you or for your child, anybody in your family, to attend a 30-minute lessons in Japanese, French, and Spanish. So if your child is not enrolled in a LOTE class yet, this is an opportunity for them to get a taste of these languages. This would also be a time for us to celebrate our students who are receiving the seal of biliteracy. We do have students who we are honoring and highlighting because of some of the activities that we are having at this time, like poetry reading in another language or digital book reading. I will be sending more emails about this for you all so that you all have this information for you to come and join us on the 18th. And another invitation for you to celebrate again languages in Richardson ISD is our World Language Immersion Camp. This is our summer school version. So we have Japanese that will be our camp from June 1st to 4th. Spanish will be June 8 to 11. So on these flyers, you are seeing some QR codes so that it would be easy for you to sign up if you're interested or if you're curious. Please feel free to send me an email so we can provide you more information about these two exciting events hosted by World Languages Department. And one more question before I let you all go is some of you are asking about an immersion program, whether the RISD World Languages Department is doing some grant for your child to have some immersion experiences outside of the country. Currently, we don't. We're not there yet. We are not saying that we will not be there, we will not get there. But at this time, what I'm sharing with you is a study abroad info. It's from Universidad de Granada. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, but I have a link to their URL or to their website for you all to explore. This is a wonderful opportunity if you're looking into sending your child for a study abroad, especially in the language, Spanish language, once they finish high school. With that being said, oh, that's what I clicked. All right. So with that being said, we will not have a time to do this, but what I invite you all parents to think about at this time, since we've shared a lot of information and there's a lot, so you might need some time to process them, but I'd like you to think of one thing that you've learned today that you could use to have those conversations with your child or to make those plans for their language pathway. I also want you to think of, or maybe not think, but I want you to identify one thing that you will do. So the first part is to think. This part is what will you do regarding your child's world languages pathway before the next school year starts. I want to make sure that the information that we've shared, the questions that we've answered this evening would be something that you could use, especially, as you are making those course verification letters tonight and also for planning for next school year. Miss Etherton, I know the last piece is the survey, but on this slide, parents, you are also seeing my email address. You may also have received my email when I sent you all a reminder. So that is something that you could use to communicate with me just in case you have questions. And I do have our website here, risd.org, World Languages, because I know some of you have asked as well for the website for you to get into to look for more information. So Miss Etherton, I would pass it on to you to end our time this evening.
Thank you so much for all the wonderful information, Rowena and Jeremy. I also want to let everyone know that if you have put a question in the chat, we are going to work as quickly as possible in order to answer all the questions, and they will be included in the follow-up email that we send you, along with a copy of this presentation. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to email or call us or refer to your child's counselor. If you don't get the answers that you need, please don't give up. Your parents are the best advocate for their student. So please be sure you get your questions answered. And we are so grateful for the time you spent with us this evening. The recording of this presentation will be available at Parent University at risd.org website by 11:59 p.m. Tuesday night. Thank you so much again for your time. Have a wonderful
Thank you,
day.
everyone, for joining us this evening.
Thank you all.